Welcome to JoyTube, where the truth comes alive. In this channel, we go very deep to explain the ancient texts and biblical stories like no other. If you are new in this channel, please subscribe and hit the notification button so that you don't miss out on our epic journey into the events of the past to help us navigate the present times. Today, we are looking at the life of Esther. Who was she? Let's dive in. What if I told you that one girl, an orphan, a foreigner, a Jew, rose from obscurity to royalty and rewrote the fate of an entire nation? This is not just a Cinderella story. This is divine strategy. This is the story of Esther, the queen who risked her life to save her people. Stay with me, because this ancient scroll carries a message for every modern-day woman of purpose watching this right now. In the Persian Empire, in the royal city of Shushan, a king named Ahasuerus ruled over 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. A powerful king, but one who would soon be used in a divine drama he didn't even see coming. Esther was a young Jewish girl, an orphan raised by her cousin Mordecai, a righteous man living in exile in the citadel of Shushan. She had no royal blood, no political connections, no inheritance. Yet, the hand of God was resting on her life. When Queen Vashti refused the king's order and was banished, a search began for a new queen. Young virgins were gathered from all over the empire, and among them was Esther. She could have vanished in the crowd, but something about her was different. Not just her beauty, but her spirit. Esther obeyed Mordecai. She listened to wise counsel. She walked humbly, spoke with grace, and carried herself with dignity. She found favor in the eyes of Hegai, the custodian of the women, and ultimately in the eyes of King Ahasuerus himself. And then the crown was placed on her head. A Jewish orphan became queen of the most powerful empire on earth. But the story was just beginning. Enter Haman, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. Filled with pride and rage, he devised a plot to annihilate the Jews across all provinces. He secured the king's seal and decreed their destruction. When Mordecai heard of it, he tore his clothes and mourned. And then he sent a message to Esther. Do not think you will escape in the king's house, for if you remain silent at this time, deliverance will arise from another place. But who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther 4 verse 14. At that moment, Esther was shaken. She could die for approaching the king without invitation. But she made a bold decision. Go, gather all the Jews. Fast for me. I will go to the king, though it is against the law. If I perish, I perish. Esther 4 verse 16. Courage replaced fear. Purpose replaced comfort. Destiny was awakened. Esther approached the king. And to her surprise, the king extended his golden scepter, a sign of favor. Not only did she gain access, but she also strategically invited him and Haman to a banquet. Through wisdom, patience, and divine timing, Esther exposed Haman's plot. The king was enraged, and Haman, the very man who built a gallows to kill Mordecai, was hung on it himself. The Jews were saved. Mordecai was elevated, and Esther's name was written into eternity as a woman who stood in the gap, risked everything, and changed history. Esther teaches us that 1. You don't need a famous name to walk in divine favor. Esther was unknown. No royal lineage, no family legacy, no public accolades, no social media following if we make it modern. Just a Jewish orphan girl quietly raised in exile by her cousin Mordecai. And yet, when the hand of God came upon her, divine favor catapulted her from obscurity to royalty. Biblical evidence in Esther's story. 1. Esther 2 verse 7. She had neither father nor mother. She was an orphan, not a princess, not a noble, no status. 2. Esther 2 verse 15. Esther obtained favor in the sight of all who saw her. Her favor came from her character and the invisible hand of God, not her name. 3. Esther 2 verse 17. The king loved Esther above all the women and set the royal crown on her head. The favor of the king was not based on background. It was divine orchestration. What does divine favor really mean? Divine favor is when God chooses to elevate, protect, and promote you, even when logic, merit, or social systems say you don't qualify. It overrides human disqualification. It bypasses limitations of birth, culture, and reputation. It causes doors to open that would normally remain shut. You may not come from a rich family. You may not have the right surname. You may not have connections, a degree, or a fancy CV. But if God's favor rests on you, you will be noticed, positioned, and elevated in ways that even the powerful cannot explain. People with famous names often rely on status, but those with divine favor rely on purpose and providence. Real-world examples, modern parallels. A young girl from the village becomes a global evangelist. A boy from a single-parent home ends up leading a tech company. A refugee child becomes a Nobel Peace Prize winner. They were not born famous. But purpose plus favor equals legacy. God doesn't require you to be known by men before he uses you. You just need to be known in heaven. Esther wasn't famous, but she was faithful. And because of that, she was favored. 1. God doesn't waste pain. He transforms it. Pain is not the end of your story. It may be the beginning of your divine assignment. Esther's life was marked by sorrow before it was crowned with royalty. She was orphaned, hidden away in a foreign land, raised by a cousin. That's not a glamorous beginning. But instead of letting that pain define her as broken or forgotten, God wove it into her purpose. Her orphan status made her dependent on God. Her humble beginnings gave her a spirit of grace. Her hiddenness became her preparation for greatness. In the world's eyes, she was disqualified. In God's eyes, she was destined. God can use your pain, even your orphaned, hidden past, for purpose. 2. Your scars may be the proof of your preparation. Sometimes God allows wounds that later become weapons in your calling. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, but later fed the same brothers in famine. Moses was abandoned in a basket, but became the deliverer of his people. Esther was an orphan, but became the queen who saved her nation. God takes what people want to hide and uses it to reveal his glory. 3. You're not broken. You're being built. Esther's hidden past didn't disqualify her. It made her the only one qualified to stand in the gap for a people who were also outsiders. She understood rejection, exile, and the pain of being voiceless. So, when her people were about to be slaughtered, she didn't just see it as politics. She felt it in her bones. She knew what it was like to be vulnerable. That personal pain gave her public passion. Romans 8 verse 28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." That includes the betrayal, the loss, the abandonment, the silence, the nights of tears, the years no one saw you. God can use it all. Your pain is not punishment. It may be the platform for your purpose. God used Esther's orphan past to give her a heart of compassion, a spirit of humility, and the courage to risk her life for others. In the same way, your past isn't a shame to hide. It's a stage for God's glory to shine. For your beauty is not just skin deep. It's about character, courage, and calling. In a world obsessed with appearance, filters, and flawless skin, the story of Esther flips the script. Yes, Esther was outwardly beautiful. The Bible says she had a lovely figure and was beautiful, Esther 2 verse 7. But it wasn't just her face that got her crowned. It was what was beneath the surface. Let's break it down. 1. Beauty equals character. Character is who you are when no one is watching. It is the fragrance of integrity, humility, and wisdom. Esther didn't demand attention. She didn't manipulate. She listened to advice, respected authority, and walked with grace. Esther 2:10, 2:15. She didn't reveal her identity to boast. She walked in discretion. She didn't chase favor. She was favored because of her spirit. She didn't compete. She trusted the process. True beauty is in how you treat others, not just how you dress. It's how you handle power, pressure, and promotion. 2. Beauty equals courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. When Mordecai challenged Esther to risk her life, she didn't run or collapse. She took a breath and said, "If I perish, I perish." Esther 4 verse 16. That moment was the peak of her beauty, not her royal gown, not the crown on her head, but the courage in her heart. In that instant, she was not just a queen. She became a warrior in royal robes. 3. Beauty equals calling. Calling is your God-given assignment in the earth, and it's often wrapped in discomfort, risk, and obedience. Esther could have lived quietly in the palace, enjoying perfume and banquets, but calling demanded more. It whispered, "You're here for a reason." Your beauty is revealed not in how perfect your life looks, but in how fully you walk in what you were born to do. Esther stepped into her calling, and because of that, an entire nation was saved. God saw it. Heaven honored it. History recorded it. You are not beautiful just because you have glowing skin or trendy clothes. You are beautiful because you walk with wisdom when others gossip. You choose faith when fear surrounds you. You protect others, speak truth, and move in purpose. You know you are called, and you live like it. Your beauty is not in your mirror, it's in your mission. It's not about being admired, it's about being aligned with your purpose. And when character, courage, and calling come together in a woman, kings take notice, nations are changed, and heaven moves. 5. True queens don't just wear crowns, they intercede, they stand, and they rescue others. In the world's definition, queens are defined by what they wear, what they possess, and how many people serve them. But in God's kingdom, queens are defined by who they serve, what they are willing to sacrifice, and how far they'll go to protect others. Esther didn't become legendary because she looked like royalty. She became unforgettable because she acted like one when it mattered most. Let's break it down. 1. True queens intercede. Intercession means standing between danger and the people you love. It means carrying burdens that aren't your own and pleading before the throne, both earthly and divine. Esther didn't just say, "That's not my problem." She didn't hide in the comfort of the palace while her people were being condemned. She said, "Gather the Jews. Fast for me," Esther 4 verse 16. That was not just strategy. That was intercession. She fasted. She prayed. She sought wisdom. She positioned herself spiritually before she moved politically. True queens understand. The real battle is first won in the spirit, on their knees. 2. True queens stand. Standing means refusing to bow to fear, injustice, or evil, even when you're trembling inside. Esther knew that approaching the king uninvited could cost her life. Yet she declared, "I will go to the king, and if I perish, I perish." She didn't hide behind her crown. She used her position to take a stand for her people, for justice, for God's purpose. True queens don't just make speeches. They make sacrifices. They don't blend in. They step up. They are not silent when they're needed the most. 3. True queens rescue others. A queen's power is not for personal comfort. It is for public deliverance. Esther put her life on the line to stop a genocide. She wasn't just interested in robes and banquets. She used her influence to save her nation. This is the heart of true royalty, deliverance, not decoration. She is a picture of Jesus, the ultimate king who gave his life to rescue the world. And in Esther, we see that queens too can carry a divine rescue mission. You are not a queen because of your hair, heels, or highlights. You are a queen because you pray for others when they cannot pray for themselves. Speak up when others stay silent. Use your influence not for applause, but for impact. Rescue the broken, the forgotten, the oppressed. True queens wear crowns of compassion. They carry scepters of strength. They walk in robes of righteousness. They rule not from a throne of luxury, but from a heart of love. 6. You are not too young, too broken, or too late. You were born for such a time as this. This single sentence carries a divine contradiction to every lie the enemy tries to whisper. You're too young. You're too messed up. You're too late. But God says you're right on time. Let's break this down. 1. You are not too young. Esther was a young woman, likely in her teens when she entered the palace. She wasn't seasoned in politics. She wasn't a mother. She wasn't a scholar. She was young, but chosen. Youth is not a weakness in the hands of God. It's often his favorite weapon. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 7. Do not say, "I am only a youth." for to all to whom I send you, you shall go. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12. Let no one despise your youth. David was a teenager when he faced Goliath. Mary was a young girl when she birthed the Messiah. Esther was a young woman when she saved a nation. Age is not your barrier. It may be your qualification. 2. You are not too broken. Esther was an orphan, a foreigner, and a girl living in exile. Her childhood was marked by loss, displacement, and invisibility. Yet God looked at her and said, "That's my queen." Your trauma, your loss, your past mistakes, none of them cancel your calling. In fact, they are often the very stage God stands on to show his glory. Psalm 147 verse 3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Joel chapter 2 verse 25. I will restore the years the locust has eaten. If you're broken, you're the perfect candidate for redemption. If you've been through pain, you can speak to others with authority and compassion. Your cracks don't disqualify you. They let the light shine through. 3. You are not too late. You may feel like time has passed you by. You see others ahead of you, married, successful, visible, and you wonder, did I miss my moment? But remember this, God is not bound by human clocks. Esther's moment didn't come when she became queen. Her moment came when her people needed her most. Her purpose was activated at the perfect time. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Moses was 80 when his real assignment began. Abraham had Isaac when it looked biologically impossible. The thief on the cross was saved in his final breath. God doesn't need time. He needs surrender. And when you're surrendered, you're never late. You're divinely aligned. 4. You were born for such a time as this. This is not just a poetic line. It is a prophetic truth. You are not here by accident. You weren't born too early or too late. You were born into this generation because this generation needs your voice, your gift, your story, your fire. Just like Esther, you've been positioned, even if you don't understand why yet. And when the moment comes, you'll realize every heartbreak, every delay, every hidden season was preparation. You are not too young. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You were crafted by God with eternal precision. He placed you in this timeline, this city, this body, this family, for a reason. You were born for such a time as this. Now rise, Esther. The world is waiting. Esther's name means star. And like a star, she rose in a dark sky to shine when it mattered most. Maybe, just maybe, it's your turn now. Will you be silent? Or will you rise, speak, and shine for such a time as this? Like, share, and comment I am Esther if you're ready to walk in your divine calling. Don't forget to subscribe to JoyTube for more inspiring biblical stories that speak to your destiny. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.